Genesis or Genesisn't, probably. I don't know. I still haven't gotten a real good grip on how the
You kind of
delay works
mastered
on
the
Mixer.
Twitch.
Yeah, I got it down on Twitch pretty good, but it's every time I look back at one of these archives, it's always fucked up. Anyway, I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
I'm Joe Drilling, and I'm going back to the house.
Kurt Adam.
I am not Joe Drilling, and I'm calling from inside the house.
Oh no!
What kind of a house are you calling
inside the
from,
house.
Kurt?
The Splatterhouse, in fact.
Is it the first Splatterhouse, the second one, or the third?
No.
The third Splatterhouse on the
It's
left?
the third one that's in 3D.
Oh, okay.
And it
The
probably
third
isn't in
one is
3D.
always
But
in 3D.
Well.
third one is always in 3D.
Yeah, I mean, this one plays more like a traditional belt scroller, a brawler than it also has photorealistic sort of cutscenes, quote unquote. This one,
What did we call cutscenes back then?
we called them cutscenes back then.
Did we?
Yeah, I think or cinemas. We called them cinemas, which I think was coined by Tecmo when Ninja Gaiden came out. I think they called them cinemas and then we called them that for a long time, or at least I did. I'd have to find a scan of the Ninja Gaiden manual to confirm that, but I feel like that's where that started, and we used to call them cinemas.
Apparently I can't edit the controls, but I can look at them.
But yeah, this installment took things from the flat sort of vigilante kung fu master style of beat 'em up to the Final Fight Double Dragon style of beat 'em up. It does some interesting things. I honestly think it's probably the weakest entry in the entire franchise, if I'm being totally honest. I still like it. But it does some stuff.
Does that include the most recent one?
Yes.
Okay.
Which was maligned, but I liked it. I liked the
I remember you enjoying it.
2009, 2010 Splatterhouse.
Something like that. 2000.
Apparently we're maybe getting another Splatterhouse soon because Namco filed some trademarks. So
whence your flesh will expand with a surge of power.
So
that's my new catchphrase.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds like something the Ultimate Warrior. That's an Ultimate Warrior promo. The Terror Mask is cutting an Ultimate Warrior promo. So he's serious, by the way, when he talks about if you dally or whatever he said, if you waste time, you're timed in this game, and bad things happen to the people you're trying to save if the timer runs down before you reach the end of the stage. So when you clear each level or each room, you'll get a interstitial like this, a cinema, and in some rooms you'll get a map where there are multiple exits from the room, and you really want to go straight to the exit. It's not like Smash TV where you kind of want to explore the whole map because there's more points and more goodies. Like, you want to go straight to the boss room as much as you can. Or maybe you have to press start to look at the map. I don't remember, but you there's a way to see the map when the room is cleared. And
yeah, it's only when the room is clear.
It's only when the room is cleared. And you can decide which way you want to go.
The spooky mask did tell me that before I started, but
yeah. So you really want to take the most direct route to the boss, because again, the longer you wait, this game does not reward exploring. In fact, it actively disincentivizes exploring the house. So there's a spin kick move that is a crowd control thing. I want to say it's like left, right, left in the attack button or something like that. It's a little tough to pull off. There you go. But once you have kind of so you're going towards the red X. So I would say go left, and then, but the spin kick will help you quite a bit. In fact, that's kind of my main criticism of this game, is that once you've figured out the input for the spin kick, you can kind of spam it. Yeah, it's kind of OP. And when you mutate, if your POW meter fills up or whatever, if you use your, then it turns into a thing where like Rick launches his guts out at people. And that also is ridiculously overpowered. Also, enemies drain your life super fast, as you just saw. So you're kind of perversely incentivized not to explore and to spam the hell out of the spin kick or the gut explosion.
Do the gut, is that the same input?
Same input.
Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah. I like that when he shrinks back down to regular size Rick, or like just normally beefy Rick, his shirt comes back on. But yeah, I don't know. This is it, again, I still enjoy it. It's very gory. I like the fact that there's several different endings based on who you save and who you don't, and how fast you make it through the house. I like the photographic style cutscenes. They're kind of like quaint in a cheesy 1993 kind of way. 92, 93. This game had a rating, so I'm gonna say 90. I'm gonna say 93. But I think Splatterhouse 2 is sort of the peak of the series. I think Wampaku Graffiti is a lot of fun. I like the finger,
hand,
the
yeah,
demon
that's real
finger.
nice,
That
yeah.
all games need a good thing that points you. Points you in the right direction. So speaking of horror games, did you guys see that? So I saw there was a hype up yesterday that like Suda51 and Swery65 are going to do a live stream tomorrow and talk about their new game.
Okay.
And they did
I
that
feel like
today.
This
And
is like the third or fourth thing that Swery's working on now.
I guess I don't know, but so
There's the
like
cat
it literally.
thing, there's Deadly Premonition 2.
Well, Deadly Premonition 2 is almost out. Doesn't that come out like kind of soonish, allegedly? But like, so they had this live stream that was in Japanese, and I read like a summary of it.
February.
On
No, wait. Go ahead.
and it seems like they just kind of had a public brainstorming session. Like, the game is called Hotel Barcelona, which apparently they decided on like 20 minutes before they started their stream.
It sounds like it.
And they said it's going to be published by Devolver Digital, but then Devolver tweeted shortly after, like, hey, you guys got to call us for this game we're supposedly publishing and let us know it's
It's a very Devolver
Well,
thing
hey,
to do.
the guy from Basket Case grew up.
Yeah, Belial, he has a whole body now. Yeah, so, but then they like during the live stream, Suda was like, oh man, it'd be cool if the dude who did a lot of work on Siren and some of the original couple Silent Hill games, like if he helped us out with this. And so he like texted him, and by the end of the thing, he texted him back to be like, yeah, I'll work on this too. So like apparently yeah, let's see here.
Punch his head off, but he's still going.
They want to make it light and easy to play, something that can be downloaded and picked up on mobile, Switch, Stadia, and the like. The idea is that a magazine writer is visiting a hip new hotel and then the horror begins. However, this is not set in stone. Suda mentioned Siren as a type of horror game he likes, with a narrative pieced together by playing from the perspectives of different characters. Suda texted Siren creator Keiichiro Toyama during the live stream asking if he'd like to get involved. By the end of the live stream, Toyama had replied with yes.
It's hard to tell exactly what's going on in this quote-unquote photograph. Huh, what's this?
He's looking lovingly at the thing.
That's his wife.
A white
and she,
streak.
Like, she's got like a parasite in her or something, I think is the...
It's a boar worm.
Yeah.
The evil one puts them in the bodies of his victims. Need Jotaro to come out, and he's the only one that can rip it out fast enough before it infects their brain.
Jotaro is one of my favorite In Flames records, too.
So yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I at an event happening next week, Swery will come up with concepts for the game while Suda will design a logo. So I'm feeling like they're just like maybe this is on purpose. They want to
Punking
expose. They want to, well, not punking everybody, but like you're intentionally giving us insight into the development process of a game by just like doing everything publicly. I don't know. I'm interested in whatever it is because those
That
two guys
seems like
make
a pseudo kind of thing to do.
right. Because those two guys make nothing if not games that are like pretty interesting, even if the execution isn't always like perfect. Like,
That is being extremely generous, but
Isn't
I mean,
always.
I
most of the
genuinely
games
work
made
in
by
that
those
sense.
guys are interesting and also not very good.
I mean, I genuinely liked Deadly Premonition for as bizarre as
It's a
like the
terrible
combat
game.
was pretty good, but
You want to go down and then over and then loop back around, I guess, right?
yeah, I guess that looks like the most direct route.
Because yellow and white doors won't open, right?
I'm not sure which. Yeah, I don't remember the color coding.
But yeah, I mean, they are two people that make weird video games, but
They definitely are that. And I'm interested to see what they come up with.
but also like I don't mean there's like we're gonna ask this guy for some ideas. It's not the same thing as he's gonna help us build this video game, right? Because like as I understand it, like Swery is like involved in the Deadly Premonition 2 project, but his company's not making it. So
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, these two guys were originally discussing a food-themed PlayStation VR game, but it was canceled. In 2018, the pair decided to make a game together, but would forget the
Just
ideas they
repurposed
discussed
it
after
as-
getting drunk.
uh-huh.
That sounds about right. They just need to get drunk again, and then they'll remember them.
And record the. Was it the Rift to Satisfaction that Keith Richards didn't remember like writing or doing, but he happened to like make a recording on like a 4-track
Yes.
and then like listen to it later and was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
Hey, this is
pretty good.
I like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
All these clocks. Running out of life there.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe play better.
It
Splatter
only
more
takes a few
houses.
hits, and then all of a sudden your
Yeah.
little health bar is just totally gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit him with a cinder block. Yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of frustrating about this game is that like ghosts will come and try to steal your weapons if you drop them or they get knocked out of your hand.
There's one thing I know about ghosts, is that they love cinder blocks.
Yeah.
That was actually that ghost's unfinished business, is that he was trying to rebuild the
Building-
foundation of a house, and this is the last cinder block.
This is the exact same premise as the last Fatal Frame.
What, the cinder block?
Yeah, that's the cinder
Cinder
block
block
thing. Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah.
You know, I've never played any of those games. I should probably fix that.
They're alright. I played, what, the GameCube one? Shit, dude.
I don't know.
Suda worked on one of those, right? But it didn't come out in the U. Or did it eventually come out in the U.S. at some point, or it never came out in the U.S.
Which game?
The Suda worked on one of the Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frames.
Yeah.
The one that
Like the
was,
fourth or
the one that
fifth
was,
one
yeah,
or
the one that was
something.
still didn't ever look like it was going to come out here, and then eventually it did.
It did.
Yeah, I'm saying, is it that one, Maiden of Black Water? Is that the
Maybe.
one?
I don't know.
It's
Like
the
I
one
said,
that
I
came out on
played
Wii U.
through a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2 one, sorry, and then I played a one on the Wii, maybe some of, but neither one of them really made too much of an impression on me.
No. I never played Siren. Siren was PS3, right? It was episodic thing on PS3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there was that Siren thing.
Yeah. Well, was that the original game, or was the original game older than that?
I
And
thought
then
there
that
was
was like
wasn't that a PlayStation 2 game?
So Suda worked on Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which was a Wii title.
yeah, but it didn't get released eventually on like the Wii U or something here. Or was that a different
Wikipedia
Fatal
at least
Frame?
only lists a Japanese release date.
Okay, there's a fan translation that I think you can
Yeah,
like run
the one
in
you might be
Dolphin.
thinking of is the one that I mentioned of Maiden of Black Water that came out on Wii U. That was the one everybody was like, it's not coming out. We want it.
Right, that was the one where they like took out like the gross, pervy like Lolita costumes and changed them to cool stuff like Samus and like Princess.
I mean, they censored
Zelda.
the video game, Joe.
Yes, they
Easy.
definitely censored the video game for
Easy.
sure.
Just like they did to Tokyo Mirage Session, they ruined the story.
Yeah, what was the ruining of the story?
I don't know when they removed
that
that
what the
one
dust up
lady's.
was
That
about?
was
They took
the
the
that was the
mirages
game
out.
where they removed the lady's vagina bones. Remember that?
Oh right, vaguely.
No
Yeah.
cleavage and no vagina bones.
Wasn't there? I feel like there was just some recently.
I
some
mean, if you
dust
don't
up
have any
about the
cleavage, then
Switch
vagina bones
port.
are really unnecessary.
That's true. I feel like there was just some dust up about the Switch port of that, but I don't know what it was
Yeah,
about.
so
'cause-
Nintendo on the Japanese website showed screenshots from the original Japanese version, which had the underage characters
Vagina
and all
bones?
the cleavage and the vagina bones. Fucking vagina bones is like such a great fucking word.
I don't even know what you're talking about, by the way,
Camel
when you
toe.
say that.
I believe
Like,
that one of the
okay.
characters had like some camel toe in one of the pictures. But that was removed from the US version that I played, as was a lot of cleavage and a lot of like. I think they aged the characters up as well to like from like 16 and 17 to like 18 and 19.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean whatever.
So
you
Siren
feel-
did
and then
come
there
out
was a
on
bunch of-
PlayStation 2.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there was just a bunch of like unnecessary cheesecake shots of the characters in the Japanese version that.
The 16-year-old girl
Right.
characters,
Of course, obviously. Which-
Siren did come out on the PlayStation 2 originally, and then was re-released on the PlayStation 3, and then the PlayStation 4.
Well, so was the one on PlayStation 3? That wasn't a re-release, though, was it? I thought that was a
That's
new.
what Wikipedia says. Re-released for PlayStation 3. I thought it was a new thing.
Siren Blood Curse is the thing that I'm thinking.
You're right.
Which is
Okay, it doesn't list Siren series in the little thing, so I was looking for that. PS3. So the original Siren has the release setup that I was talking about.
Blood Curse is a reimagining of the first installment of the series.
Yeah, I want to say there was an episodic thing, like you were saying.
Right. That's the one. I think now you can buy it like in a
Yeah,
thing,
just a
but
complete thing. Yeah.
But anyway, Tokyo Mirage Session, vagina bones or not, it's a great video game.
pretty good. Even when they censored, even after they censored the
I'm-
video game.
That is the Switch game I am most looking forward to at the moment. What's this thing?
That's
I
health.
know.
You want that?
All I know about it is it has a delightful pause screen
What's that?
or
Tokyo Mirage
title
Session?
screen. I can't remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a screenshot of one or the other, and I was like, "That's
Down.
really nice."
Over, down.
So one of the things I appreciate about this game is that it
Hey,
It,
there's my cinder block.
goes to get to the ghost room.
Shit.
What I really appreciate about the you have full power. You could transform into Steroid Rick. I like that when you kill a monster, and like in
His
most games,
torso gets cold, so he doesn't want to do that.
in most games, a heart would be like the drawing of like a Valentine's Day heart that you would pick up for health, but this game goes with just like an anatomically correct heart,
Sure.
or like an approximation, I guess, of an anatomically correct heart.
Pixely and a pixel perfect anatomically
I don't know
correct.
that I'm gonna make it here. We gotta go down one more time, right? Yep.
So you can still finish the level; it just changes the story. Like Jennifer's gonna die if you don't get there in time.
Eh.
You did, yeah. Sorry, she just died. She's dead.
What? The timer's not even up yet.
It's progressive, like it gets worse. If the timer gets all the way up, something else happens. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played this one, so I don't remember the exact chain of events. But like, I think in the first stage, you can stop her from getting boar-wormed at all. Like, if you get there fast enough, you stop the monster from doing that in the first place. And then in this level, it's whatever. But she dies in the first Splatterhouse, actually. Spoilers, kind of, for a game that's 30-some years old. 31, 32 years old. Yeah, she turns into a monster and Rick kills her in the first one. And then in the second one, Rick goes all like steroid amped Orpheus and like goes into hell and just brings her back. After the Terror Mask comes to him in his nightmares and tells him that she doesn't have to stay dead. We can save her.
Well, I don't think she's going to survive this, so...
Doesn't seem that way. I don't know if there's three or four endings to this game that involve, like, you can save Jennifer but not your son, you can save your son but not Jennifer, you can...
Not save anybody?
So you can not save anybody. And you can save everybody. So yeah, I think it's 4. I think you can do one but not the other in either configuration, and you can do neither, and you can do both, which is obviously the best ending. Because the whole thing is like this Rick and Jennifer's son is being used by the evil one.
TM.
To...
She looks like a character in the new WWE 2K.
She looks better than that. Come on.
They did a quick look of it today on Giant Bomb, and like they spent like the first 25 minutes just going over the faces, and they were just fucking horrible. Like there were some of them that looked like, oh my god.
This looks extremely frustrating.
Yeah, I'm getting like
I was about to
sunlocked
say
by
the
these
same.
worms. I can't do anything. Come on, that one. Ugh. Come on. I'm as high as I can go, and I'm still getting hit by the goddamn middle one.
Who goes there?
Migos here?
Like,
Migos.
I would
It's
sing a
Migos.
Migos song, but I can't remember any of them offhand.
Now that would be scary.
Oh, come on. Why isn't it going fast off the bat? This fucking sucks. It's even knocking me out of my jump animation.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Jump, jump, jump. Oh, what? Do I have to go all the way?
Is he running away from you?
There's a boss in one Paku Graffiti that's like a mutant mouse, and it throws little mutant mice at you. And if one hits you, like it's in like a wind tunnel, and if one hits you, you get knocked all the way back to all the way to the left of the screen. But once you reach the actual boss, it dies in a single hit, which I always thought is kind of a fun
Boss
like,
gimmick.
it can be frustrating, but yeah, it's like a fun gimmick that like, oh, when I get all the way over to that thing, what am I gonna have to deal with? And then it's like, oh no, it dies in a single hit, which is why it's hard to get to it. Yeah.
Nobody liked this series so much, Joe. It's just wrestling.
I mean, is it?
Aesthetically speaking, it's like horror wrestling.
I mean, I think King of the Monsters is horror wrestling. I don't really see a lot of parallels between Splatterhouse and wrestling, honestly. If I'm being totally honest with
Just
you, Mike.
the Fiend is Rick.
Yeah, right.
I would say he
Now
looks
who's-
like a wrestler.
Now who's
Oh, well,
unlocked?
I mean,
Big, weird,
how many
sapient
game
penis?
protagonists look like wrestlers? I mean, especially from this era. I think they kind of all do.
It's Steven Seagal.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I froze it in dropkick mode. I don't care if Jennifer dies. She's gone. You didn't make it in time.
You can still save your son, Rick.
Nah, I don't think so. He is evil. Remember your wife.
Or, don't.
Who?
She'll probably be fine. Didn't they make a sequel after this?
No, there were no more sequels after this. There was a
That
remake.
was like the 2000, yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's a
year was
remake.
that?
That's 2010. It was a remake of the first game, though.
Oh, well, then I guess you should have done a better job, Eric.
That's fine. I mean, the canonical ending is the one where his whole family dies, right? Since there's no sequels.
Well, no, because the canonical ending is that
They live happily ever after.
it's all very contrived, but basically the mask is like a big part of the evil, and you defeat the mask at the end of in the good ending. You kill the mask, and so Rick can finally live a normal life after having like beaten Lovecraftian horrors to death with his fists on 3 separate occasions. Rick can finally settle down and live a normal life.
Right.
So I have something to look forward to, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. Well, how many times have you beaten Lovecraftian horrors to death with your fists so far, Mike?
Only
That's the
2.
real question. Well, I mean, you got 1 to go, but
Just
make
remember
sure that
to
when
look
you
at the map and
move fast
Yeah.
and look at the map, because otherwise,
boreworm, etc., etc.
boreworm, yeah. And then your son could be sacrificed to the evil one to give him a physical manifestation in this plane of existence or whatever, something.
Doesn't sound good when you say it that way.
That's
No,
fine.
no.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, Eric's trying to save him right now. That's what Eric's moved on to.
I'm not
at this
gonna,
point.
because there's no way I'm gonna get through this fast enough. This way. Looks like this is. I can't.
There is no especially direct route in this stage. You just have to snake your way through the house.
This way. Whoa.
Soundtrack is good on this game. All the games in this series have good soundtracks. Partial to the second one because it's my favorite entry in the series, but I really like the work that the.
So far, this game doesn't have too much awkward jumping, which is nice. Except for.
Well, it has a
dedicated.
dedicated jump button, unlike
Yeah.
Double Dragon on the NES. Also, I don't think that I can't. I mean, again, it's been a while since I've played this, especially since I've played it like to any depth into the game. But I don't think there's any platforming in this game. I mean, the
Was
first
it two or one that had.
Two has like one section where you
could
have
jump
to
over some spikes or something.
you have to jump over some. There's some pits that drop you into like a secondary stage that's like more full of enemies and spikes and stuff. But even that game is pretty light on
Nope, give me my
platforming, all
bat.
things considered.
Fucking dickhead.
Kurt, you're on the stickler. Is that correct? Or is that Mike?
Yeah, no, that's me.
That's you. Okay, nice. I used a
Seemed like an
zombie
appropriate
shark last
emoji
week.
sticker thing to put on there.
I don't remember if it was earlier this week or last week that I used the zombie shark for 50,000, and 3 zombie sharks just like swam through the chat.
I see the 50,000 up there.
Yeah. I wonder if you can click on it and see the effect again or something. Probably not.
I need to spend some sparks so I can become number 1. So I
that
missed the
must have been
beginning.
last week because I was say it should be me, but it's Kurt because apparently.
Every week it resets, Joe. You want to be the
Right,
king.
but
you
I
gotta-
couldn't remember when I did it. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't remember when I.
So I missed the beginning of this. This game has some sort of weird real-time element where you got to watch the map and
Yeah.
Yep.
You have
big
to
red
make
X
your way
doesn't look
to the
very
red
good.
X
That's where the boss is.
before the time runs out.
Now
Type
I'm the
sandwich.
weekly leader.
A monster's hand. Boy.
Yeah, so as the time, since we're talking about it, I'll pull up an FAQ and just sort of check what the actual timings are, because as I told Eric, it's progressive. It's not just there's time left or there's not. It's like it's the different things happen as you kind of go. So
This
How's it
looks
going
as
there?
annoying as the snake thing.
Yeah, this stuff's pretty annoying.
Let's see.
I can't move. I'm just trapped here forever. Oh, come on. I was on the other side of the thing.
Told you to spam the spin kick.
Does that work on these things?
Works on everything. I think it works on the when they get close to you, it'll like knock them. It'll smash them if you do it.
What is it? Is it...
Also, it's just back forward. It's like left right and attack.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't hit these things.
Okay, let's see here. Enemies, bosses, weapons.
This is unbelievable.
This seems like complete bullshit.
We just can't. Alright, so the book comes at you. The lamp always lands where you would land if you jumped forward. And it's like, I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm low enough or high enough on the belt scroll that I should be avoiding the hits, but this sucks.
You keep jumping right onto the lamp too,
I
which I'm sure
if
I
I
would
try
do
and
exactly
just
the
a
same
lot of
thing.
times if I just try and walk forward though, I walk into the book.
Yep.
So this guide is actually kind of useless and doesn't actually explain the timings. It just says 3 minutes is the best. So I'm guessing it's like one thing happens at 3 minutes and another thing happens when time is up. So, but it doesn't. It's not specific about.
Password Namepa.
No, I have to get through the book hallway again.
Namepa.
Nampa. What's your name? It's Pa.
So what you been doing aside from not avoiding the monsters?
Me? I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2.
Ah,
I bet
So
the
you do
West
believe in
Mansion
Destiny.
actually has a breakdown.
I played Manifold Garden.
oh, that's on the Apple
For
thingy, right?
It's also on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, it's like 20 bucks.
And for people who liked Antichamber, they should go check that out.
Is it actually like Antichamber? Because it looks like Antichamber, but it seems more like it's like block puzzles with weird perspectives.
It is somewhat that too, but the weird perspectives, it's like being inside a kaleidoscope.
Okay.
Yeah,
It looks
Yeah, everything's
really cool.
repeated forever, right?
yeah. I really liked it.
Okay.
It was totally my thing.
But like, so like the
Antichamber is more involved. Like there is more
yeah, like
different kinds
Antichamber
of
is
things
like
going on.
like
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
not
just like
trying to oversell this.
it looks weird, but it's also like Antichamber has like a million different weird mechanics or whatever. Like
Yeah, and this is not that at
if
all.
you look at this wall and walk towards it, it will move away from you. But if you turn around and walk backwards, you can get through or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have that kind of depth, but
Because Antichamber was like the first one of the only games I've ever played that was like, oh, this is like a totally unique thing to video game
Yep.
medium.
yeah.
But that game does look really neat. That's why I wanted to play it. But
Yeah. I spent a bunch of time over the weekend playing it and finished it up.
was it difficult or not too bad?
Not super difficult.
Okay. That's the thing about Antichamber. That game is really fucking. That game has.
There's
some
a couple of
really
things in there
hard
that are
things
really
in it.
hard, yeah. There's a lot of stuff you can just sort of cruise through and go, yeah, no, I get this. And then there's a few of them you're like, I have no fucking idea what's going on here.
So apparently, if you grab an enemy while you're Monster Rick and press up, down, up, and jump,
Mhm.
you do like a off-the-screen choke slam to the monster. So
Alright, well, I'll try and do that.
yeah, you should definitely try to do that.
Sounds like a good kind of joke
Waiting
plan
for
to do.
that deer head on the wall to
Start laughing?
goat head, yeah, to start laughing and about when you're going to be dead.
By dawn
Yeah.
is what I would assume.
Well, the deer head doesn't exactly. So,
Yeah. But it's a
Um,
pastiche, right? It's going to do all the things.
Right, the deer head just cranks its neck and laughs.
Yeah.
So in stage 1, Jennifer can live or die. Or sorry, yeah, in stage 1, like she can just be dead by the end of stage 1 if you don't get there in time. And then in stage 2, you can keep her alive. She can just die, or she can become the mindless beast, which is, you know, what happened in your case. And then there's combinations with her and David.
Oh, I
and
should have went a different way.
doing that. But there are passwords if you want to see,
Next level.
yeah, all the way to the end.
You're doing a lot better this time.
Yeah, if you just... That fucking lamp is the thing.
The
you
lamp
really
is
gotta
the
be
problem,
careful
yeah.
of. Yeah.
Well, it seems like if you get hit by the book, you get balked, and then everything else is a shit
Yeah.
show after that.
Actually, the secret is don't jump.
Book is a balk, but the lamp is a lump.
What about
It's
you,
lump.
Mike?
It's lump.
Well, I've just picked up Control. Started that last night.
Nice.
Oh,
I saw
so
that was
good.
on sale.
Yeah, I decided to give it a shot. And actually, I'm happy because it runs a lot better than I thought it would on my
Yeah,
computer.
it runs totally fine on PCs. It's just like the base PS4 and Xbox One version.
Well, I had heard that it
Problems.
was a real graphics card hog, even on PC. And I have, I got a 1060, which is okay, but it's pretty far from top of the line ray tracing stuff. And it runs very well, and it looks quite good actually. Like the lighting is really solid, even without the ray tracing. Lots of really cool textures and surfaces in that game. With all the concrete and like weird marble.
Oh, give me that back, you fucking...
Anyway, that game makes a really good
Very
first
bruised.
impression.
Yep.
It's good.
I've
I
heard
would
that-
say my advice for that is to like if you start getting tired of doing the combat stuff, then just go and finish the game. Don't worry about doing all the side stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if you're enjoying the combat, then like go for it. But
Yeah,
most
I've
of
heard that it
the-
gets a little long towards the end, but we'll see.
there's a lot of like side missions that are really not necessary. All it will do is fill out your skill tree, which is not a thing that
You really need.
you don't really need that.
I don't think I have a skill tree yet.
Okay.
I've picked up the telekinesis thing really recently, and that's been super fun to use so far.
It's been a really solid year for video games so far.
Yeah.
It's like
I guess I don't really agree with that, but I maybe just haven't played the right ones.
that Resident Evil 2 and Outer
Say.
Wilds.
I say
Pretty
this
good
year's,
top
I
three.
feel like, has been pretty ridiculous so far. I'm
It's not 2017, but it's been pretty good.
I mean,
And
it's not-
Apex.
it's not far off.
It's
I
not
mean,
even
personally,
close.
I think I don't know. This is the weakest year for me, I'd say, since 2014 so far, but maybe I'll turn it
I
around.
actually thought last year was the weakest. in
Oh, I had some really
time.
games that I just loved last year, but
Last year had
there's a
Celeste.
lot of really personal stuff.
But yeah, I don't. Anyways, yeah. I mean, we'll do that at a later date.
I say we'll talk about that at length at some point.
But
But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil, I actually just started a new playthrough of Resident Evil 2 tonight. That game's still real good.
I should give that a shot at some point, but right now Control is my kind of creepy-ish game. It's not very creepy, but
Yeah, I got that from GameFly, but I've been working on the new video.
It's more
so
weird than
much that-
creepy.
Yeah, when Eric was streaming it, it seemed more like
it's kind of X-Files.
more like
between
David
X-Files.
Lynch than David Cronenberg.
Correct.
Yeah, so far it hasn't been like very scary, but it's got good atmosphere for a late October kind of game.
what
I
was
did
the thing,
enjoy,
Joe? Down, up, down,
seeing-
jump. Oh, there we go.
Down, up, down, jump.
It's like a
Seeing,
suplex, really.
What's that, Kurt?
So I missed it. I was reading the thing.
I did enjoy the previous director showing up and having the voice of Max Payne.
Yeah, Eric and I were talking about that. That Sam Lake is Sam Lake also wrote this, right? As well. So-
Yes, he did.
Yes. Yeah.
What's that?
I will say that game does some great stuff with like text and sort of, I don't know what the word, like credits entering new areas and having awesome title cards show up, like really great framing and like kind of digital cinematography or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, just the font that they use when you transition from area to area is really good.
Yeah, and
You said Eric. You said
They
you
get
read
really
the
strong art
PS4
design.
version has been like patched.
It
so
has
doesn't
been
run like
patched.
garbage
Supposedly
anymore.
it's better. I think
That's what I played. That's what I played on. It was fine.
Do you have a PS4 Pro, Kurt? I don't remember.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
I just
Well,
have a
I'll see.
regular one.
It seems
Okay.
like it's
Well,
okay.
that's what I'll be
I'm
playing
not.
on.
I'm not
Most of the-
necessarily overly sensitive to that stuff.
Yeah, like most of the big problems were like really bad frame rate drops when you would come out of the menus and stuff, I think.
Yeah,
I'm a lot less worried about that than if
that
it does
actually-
that like while I'm fighting a monster
Yeah,
or whatever.
so that's true. Like when I would, when I would leave it running and then turn off my PS4 and then turn it back on and come out of the menus and then you just have to like wait for it to rejigger everything. If you try to start walking, yeah, it'll get super wonky, but it's like, hey, wait.
are you on a regular
seconds.
PS4 or do you have a Pro?
Yeah, just a regular one. So yeah, there's a noticeable okay, if you just pause,
you want
let
to
it
password
catch
it?
up, and then you're fine.
Where
I
do you
heard-
want to go? What stage was that you were just
That
on?
was the
Stage.
third stage.
Do you want to go to stage 4? Or do you want to go further? There's 6 total stages.
Let's go to 4 for now. Check that
Okay.
out.
Do you want Jennifer alive
Sure.
or
I don't know. Does it
Okay.
matter? I mean, you may as
That
well,
depends.
right?
depends on how good you get?
I mean,
So T as in Thomas, E as in Edward, K as in
hang on.
I was gonna say Carl, but that could be with a C or a K, so that's
Was
not
it
helpful. I
T?
guess. TEK ROH.
Tech Road.
ROH.
Help, Rick. The mansion basement. But yeah, control's I really like Control a whole lot. There's some really awesome stuff in that game.
I'm really
it
looking
had
forward to
2 or 3
the-
times where it just like really stuff that really came out of left field and really surprised me. And I really enjoyed the combat also. Just flying, like jumping around, and I like the controls too. Some people, it's super like snappy and responsive. It almost feels more like a first-person shooter than a third-person shooter, given how like quickly you can aim and stuff.
Yeah, I wound up turning the sensitivity down a little bit on the camera movement.
Yeah. Let's go over down, I guess.
Yeah, that and I have that, and I just got my copy of River City Girls from Limited Run in the mail yesterday. So those are like the next 2 things on my docket. But this video needs to get finished before I'll let myself start playing anything new, or the video is just not going to get done. So
River City Girls looks incredible, but it kind of came and went without a whole lot of fanfare.
I mean, it's a beat 'em up in a 2D belt scrolling beat 'em up released in 2019. So I feel like there's a very specific audience in mind for something like that. But everybody I know who's played it said they liked it. So
Okay, well that's good.
which I liked. I liked River City Ransom Underground, which was from another North American developer, but it was very grindy, which I didn't love. And then I really liked River City Tokyo Rumble, which was from Arc System Works.
Oh, so that one
That
was
was 3DS. That one I liked a lot. But then River City Rival Showdown, which was also from Arc System Works, I didn't like as much. I thought that was also very grindy, similar to River City Ransom Underground. But now I've heard really good things about River City Girls, and also it's cool that that Misako and
And Mr. Sacco?
yes, Mr. Sako,
Misako and your Sako.
Misako and
Mr. Sako.
Yuriko. I don't remember their name. I don't remember the other girl's name, but Ricky and Kunio's girlfriends get their own. They were playable in the last Super Famicom game. Kunio, Nekatsu Koha Kunio Tachi no Banka, which was the last beat 'em up released during kind of the original run when it was still Technos, basically. they were playable in that. You had, if you were playing single player, you had 4 characters. You could switch between Kunio, Riki, Misako, and Kyoko is the other girl's name. You could switch between the 4 of them at any time, and they all had different moves and stuff, which was cool. If you were playing 2 players, one player was Kunio and Misako, and the other was Riki and Kyoko, I think.
At the same
switch
time?
between them. No, you switch between them with the select button, because they all have separate energy bars. But if one of them dies, the game is over. You have to continue. So there's a balancing act for, like, if someone gets low on health, you want to switch before they're all out of health. So, but yeah, I've heard really solid things, that this one isn't too grindy and the combat feels fun, and it's the soundtrack. The songs that I've heard off the sound, it came with a soundtrack from Limited Run, which I haven't listened to yet. But the song that I have heard, the main like title theme, has a very sort of Donna's, sort of Paramore kind of female-led pop punk sort of vibe, which I'm into. So yeah, I've heard good things about the soundtrack, about pretty much everything about it. So I'm excited to play that, and Control, because I've also obviously heard very good things about Control, mostly from Eric, who I trust. And so those are my next 2 things. But that I also want to play that new Contra alike that came out a couple weeks ago.
Valfaris?
Valfaris. I keep forgetting
That
the
game
names.
looks really cool.
And
It sounds neat.
the new Ninja Warriors I want to check out as well.
Isn't the new Ninja Warriors just the old Ninja Warriors, but with different graphics, mostly?
It's very similar to Wild Guns Reloaded, which I liked quite a bit. So they basically got the original team together. So now it displays in 16:9 because that's necessary, right? It adds 2 new characters, who apparently play like very different from the original 3.
I didn't know there were new characters. Okay.
Yeah, one of them is like a tank, like a literal, like a tank with a face, basically, and takes up like a huge portion of the screen. The kind of thing you would normally associate with like a boss, but like it's the character you play as.
Nice.
And I think they might have added a new stage or 2. I'm not for certain on that, but I really like Ninja Warriors a lot, and I thought they did really excellent thing. Those hands look really cool, by the way.
I really like the Ninja Warriors again, Joe.
I did like the Ninja Warriors again. So Ninja Warriors once again is on my list, and I really liked Wild Guns Reloaded. I thought that was one of the first games I got for my Switch. Was Wild Guns Reloaded. So
Apparently the key to these trap hallways is just a walk and not
just to walk through them. Yeah. But yeah, I think as soon as, like I said, as soon as I get this video done, I think I'm gonna fire up.
I'm
gonna
very
fire up
excited
Control
to
right
play
away.
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds,
Because-
not Outer Wilds.
Not to be confused with Outer Wilds, which was also a game that came out this year that people liked
There's
quite a bit.
Yep.
Like they were talking about on the Bombcast today, and they were also not just comparing it to Fallout New Vegas, but also to Mass Effect.
Okay.
In a way that there's a lot of teammate characters,
Right.
and they kind of like
And the whole internet will be talking about which ones they want to fuck.
They're on your ship, kind of like
All of
standing
them.
around, hanging out, and you can talk to them and like
Really?
yeah.
I like
so
the sound
like
of this.
so like big maps that you can explore Fallout style, and then
I know nothing about this game other than what you've just told me, and I'm already totally into it.
Oh, really?
I mean, and it's written by the people at Obsidian who
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah,
make awesome video games or write really good video games that
That's-
are
that's a
usually
better
typically very
clarification.
flawed in some other technical ways.
I feel like most people I know, like my old roommate, thought that their Knights of the Old Republic was the better one, which seems like it's not the common
it was a
wisdom.
total
but-
mess, but it's really. I mean, it does some really cool things with who the Jedi are and what sort of effect they have on the universe. But it's also like that was of all of the
he
hideously
didn't
broken
play
it
Obsidian
until
games that had come
what I
out.
recall
That
is
one was
totally broken and
yeah.
incomplete.
I would say I think he didn't play it until it was like mostly fixed.
Well, so the people that fixed it were people that were fans of the game that released a big
Right.
fan patch like several years after it came out, which was also I played some of it like that. And,
which password do you want next?
just give me the
Stage
last
5?
one. Yeah.
The last one? Okay. Well, so there's There's a weird Stage X thing,
Well,
which
that's what I want.
is
That's what I want.
okay.
Is that
This
like
the
a
last
bonus
Stage
stage or?
X. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's got to do with if you clear a level fast enough. So Stage X8, which is Jennifer Lives and David Lives,
Okay.
is H as in triple
Uh
H,
huh.
ARUON.
Are
Are
you
you on?
on? Obviously.
That's like Terry Bogard asking, "Are you on? How you on?"
The Strange Zone. But yeah, I don't know.
This might not be the. I mean, we
Trying to
might want to
keep-
try the regular level 6 password after this.
I'm
just
trying to keep my expectations for that game in check
In check.
somewhat.
Huh. Is that one going to show up on Game Pass?
Yes,
It
it
is.
is. It's on Game Pass
It's
the
on
day it
Game
comes
Pass.
out. So it's on Game Pass tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Is that the one that people were bitching about being on? I saw there was some dust up about, as there always is, about Epic Store or something. And someone
It's not
I
on,
follow
I don't
is
think it's on Steam. It's on Game
Right.
Pass and Epic because
It's on Game-
Well, so
right, 'cause people
Microsoft
like-
bought Obsidian, but it's going to be on PlayStation 4.
really.
Yeah.
That's was that because they bought them after they were already like had a publisher deal with?
Yep.
Okay. I'm
Also,
really interested
it
to
seems
see.
like-
do we know what Ninja Theory is working on now that they've been bought by Microsoft? Because I was very
No. I
interested
don't
to
recall
see what
hearing
they would
anything about
come
it.
up with.
I would like to know.
Indeed. Yeah, so I think this is like a bonus stage.
Yeah, I got a couple
There's
extra
no timer.
lives.
You get extra lives. There's no timer. You just fight these weird.
Skin
Those
the
monsters
dogs.
are pulled directly from the thing. Like
Yeah.
that's the head of the dog
Yeah.
puppet monster that Stan Winston did because Rob Bottin worked himself into exhaustion and couldn't finish the last couple of effects for that movie. Yeah, that is 100%. Someone like did pixel art tracing of the dog from the thing, which is fine with me.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? Make it look like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Man, that movie's good. I haven't watched that movie in a couple of years. I think the
Should
last time I
stream
watched it
that
was when
game
Kurt and
at
I
some
went
point
to.
here, too.
Went to the draft house to see it.
We went to AFI. It was
That's right,
the
AFI.
double bill with the original,
The
John
original
Ford,
thing. Yep.
or the Howard Hawks or whatever. Howard
Yeah.
Hawks, not John Ford. Howard Hawks thing from another
That'd
world.
be a very different movie.
I mean, would it be that different? Would it be that different of a movie? I don't know.
Mm,
I heard the game was supposed to be kind of cool, of course, but it's also like, what, 15 years old or something? So
Yeah, it's a
It's closing in
PlayStation.
on it's PS2
kind of
game.
cool PlayStation 2 games don't always stand the test of time as
Yeah,
I played it as a rental
Bryce.
back then, but I didn't like it enough to follow up. So
Bryce wrote about it for us once, and he said that the problem is that people can get thinged even when they haven't like left your immediate bubble,
okay, so it's not
Which-
believable.
right? Which kind of ruins well, also just it's frustrating, I guess, because like you know you're with someone and then all of a sudden like they're a
Maybe.
thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, that's bullshit.
I hate it
Like,
when that happens.
yeah. You should try to do the choke slam again because I missed it the last time you did it.
I shouldn't try it with two of these guys in the room though.
No, two of these big fat monsters. I do like this. One of the things I really like about this game is the sort of
Wow, these guys kill me in 2 hits on this level.
Yeah, the way they showed the way the monsters showed damage.
Yeah.
Like when you do a certain amount of damage and like the head melts off and there's just a tongue sticking out of a neck hole, like you know that kind of stuff. I think is.
Jeez, Joe, that's me on a good day.
Yes, I know, Mike. Spam that spin kick.
Yeah.
So apparently in the Japanese version, you can do the spin kick by just hitting jump and attack at the same time. You don't have to do like the wiggling pad thing.
Okay, yeah. See, that'd be a lot easier.
Yeah,
Oh, dang it.
that's according to the West Mansion, the internet's foremost Splatterhouse resource, which has stopped updating in like July of 2011, which is kind of a bummer. But I guess there hasn't really been much to talk about since then. So, aside from the release of the game on the Switch. Did you guys see that you'll be able to buy The Lion King and Aladdin for like $200 on the Super Nintendo and Genesis? If for some reason you wanted to do that for a game that you can buy.
$100? What?
What the fuck
Yeah.
are you talking about?
I Am 8-Bit is doing a reissue of both games.
Like the Mega Man cartridges
like
that
the
were
Mega Man and the Street Fighter 2, yeah, and of course a lot of people in the vintage gaming community are sort of like, that's kind of, I mean, what the problem is not that I Am 8-Bit is making it. The problem is that people bought enough of the other ones that there's enough of a market that they felt it was reasonable that they should make, you know, a $200 copy of the Super Nintendo Lion King, because like,
well, but that game bad?
I mean,
Super
It's
Nintendo
not-
Lion King?
yeah, it's not
It's
great.
not as good as Aladdin. I mean, like Aladdin's
No,
like a
it's definitely not as good
solid
as
B
Aladdin.
plus, and Lion King's like a C. It's like it's okay. It's not, but it isn't good.
I mean, it's from the same people who made Earthworm Jim and the Genesis Aladdin and Cool Spot, like, you know, that kind of stuff. So like it, you know, your mileage may vary depending on how much patience you have for like pre-shiny Dave Perry efforts, you know. I think it's okay. There's some frustrating. There's a part where you have to like swing on the draft tails or whatever the hell it is. It's super frustrating. Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely
But
not
it's
worth. Wait, are they $200 a pop, or does you get two of them for $200?
Let's take a look here.
Not that it'd be worth it either way, but
One is
So
twice as
the
bad.
Switch exclusive retro editions of, so they're like Digital Eclipse, I think it was, is doing the compilation of Aladdin and Lion King. You can get a physical Switch copy of that for $50 from them.
that's too
But-
much. That's the way that even that's too much.
Well, it comes with a bunch of shit. I don't know. Comes with
It's too much
a
money.
poster and that's all stuff that's going to be in it if you download it. Yeah, it comes with a poster, basically, from what I can tell.
Great.
Retro edition clamshell.
What?
Comes with,
Oh,
it
for
comes
the Genesis?
basically in a Genesis.
Wait.
Here you go,
right,
Joe.
it comes, the Switch game in a Genesis game. Now, see, I was reading about
Wasn't
the.
looking.
God damn it, Joe.
You should have given me a heads up.
I
Since
did.
you
I
knew
said,
I
You're
here
gonna
we
have to
go.
watch the VOD, Joe.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so that one comes in a Genesis case, basically. All right, Aladdin Legacy cartridge, limited edition of 4,500.
Great.
Oh, there's a super rare purple gem glow in the dark edition that is randomly inserted in 1 in 8 orders.
How do they get the rights to do this from Disney of all places? Even, you know what I mean?
I guess this must be part and parcel to the re-release, the Digital Eclipse,
Must be.
you know, the re-releases. Is how it seems. But this article actually doesn't have what the actual price is, which is really annoying.
Man, at least that makes sense. Whatever. You know what? If you got the money and you want to spend it on some mediocre video games, you're going to spend way too much money on some old mediocre games, and that's your.
Sorry, I was wrong. It's $100, not $200.
For
$100 for a gold-colored Lion King cartridge,
why would you want
or
a
a red or a translucent red Aladdin Genesis.
So
cartridge.
they are $100 a piece.
They're $100 a piece, so
Yeah,
200
that's-
for both.
That is a lot of money.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's the
I'm
same
passing.
price as the Mega Man 2 30th anniversary Baby Blue NES cartridge.
That game's really good.
It
So,
is.
I mean, I just got a copy of Mega Man 2 for $20, but you know, this is a good game.
I mean, Aladdin for Genesis is also a good game, but like,
So wait, what is
No.
it? Is it? So it's Lion King. It's not the Super Nintendo.
it's
Aladdin.
Super NES Lion King,
Okay.
right? Because Capcom did a Super NES Aladdin.
Right.
So the collection that's coming out is, I think, Super NES and Genesis and Game Gear Lion King. I have to look now. but it's like multiple versions of both. It's like, it's like Master System and Genesis Aladdin, and I think Super Nintendo Genesis. And
Does that mean next
Master
year when the
System
Little
would be
Mermaid movie
Paramount.
comes out, they're going to do a special translucent cover version of the cartridge version of the Little Mermaid game
It'll be
for
a
the Genesis?
seaweed green.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, probably.
I
mean, right now, if you look at their
that
vintage,
game is like an F.
if you look at their vintage game availability, they've got Lion King and Aladdin, which are pre-orders right now, I guess. Then Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 on the same cartridge, which is $135.
Obviously. Yeah, I mean it's
Mega Man
$100
X,
just to get the thing, and then 35 extra bucks for Earthworm Jim 2.
yeah, right. Mega Man X, which looks like it's just a label variant because the cartridge is gray. That's $100. Mega Man 2 on a baby blue cartridge, that's $100, and Street Fighter 2 on a red cartridge, that's $100.
Cool.
So I feel like people they wouldn't keep making these if people weren't buying them, and that's the thing that's frustrating. Like, I just don't understand. Like when who was it? I think Retrobit released an NES cartridge of Holy Diver, and it was like $50, and it came in a pretty nice box with a soundtrack and like a pin and some stickers.
Whoa.
And that was a game that never came out on the NES, right? This was the first time it got an official US release, basically. I can kind of see that, but like these are like if you want an American Super NES copy of Mega Man X, like it's not as cheap as it probably should be, but like it ain't $100.
I've got one of those for like $15 American recently.
There you go. And like Lion King, that's like $8.
That's because it's not a very good
Aladdin's
game.
like $8. Well, quality and
That's true.
cost are
That's
not
true.
directly tied in the
There were a lot of
aftermarket.
those floating around out there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aladdin was the best-selling non-pack-in, or maybe it was just the best-selling third-party Genesis game.
Does that include sports games?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the best-selling I believe it's either the best-selling non-pack-in or the best-selling third-party. If it's the first one, it's also the second one, but it might just be the second one. But yes, that would include all the EA Sports games as well. The game sold like hotcakes, and it won a bunch of awards. It was really good looking. I mean, it's still really good looking, honestly, for the hardware. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in there that I'm just like, wow, they really. I mean, it was the first game where they actually got Disney animators to help them work on the sprite animations and everything,
Right.
all that stuff. So,
Yep.
and like the guys who would go on to form Shiny Entertainment, like, did a proprietary graphics engine on the Genesis that could handle all that stuff and animate that stuff in a way that looks really smooth. And
Before they worked on Messiah.
yeah, and I mean, they went downhill, I would say precipitously. Like, Earthworm Jim was the good thing they did, and then
That game is not very good.
even Earthworm Jim is like not that good. Wild 9 is fun for like 5 minutes. Messiah's not good. Like,
I had
Yeah,
more than
I-
5 minutes of fun with Wild 9, but
Yeah.
it's not great.
I mean, you can only pick dudes up and you only pick dudes up and throw them into that spike wheel so many times.
I don't know. I could do that for quite a while.
Did they do
Yeah.
the first MDK? Was that them too? That game was not bad, right? And
They
then
did.
Bethesda, of all people, I believe, did MDK 2.
Like
don't-
that. Whew.
What?
Well, I'm gonna let Jennifer die here, and then I think we're gonna
You
call it
bastard.
a night. So, what do you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes?
Mm,
What about Destiny?
nope.
Ah, come on.
We're just running the whole timer out to see what happens to her. Is that
Yeah,
what
we're
that's
just
what
gonna
we're
let her
doing?
die.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's our plan here.
I don't know. I guess Destiny is okay now, but just listening to everyone talk about it, I just find it fatiguing
Bro,
to
you know-
hear about that game.
You know what we should talk about? We should talk about
Hmm.
why people are going to pay $13 a month to keep playing Fallout 76.
People are going to pay a
it's
monthly fee to play that game.
$100 for a whole year, Joe. That's
It's
your best
$100
value.
for a whole year. That's true. So I mean, I guess
That's less than $13.
So let's be clear on this. And maybe I may be incompletely informed, but you're doing that because you want some specific things they're going to give you that you couldn't get otherwise. They're not turning it into a pay game. They're saying, if you want your own servers that you can play with your friends on, you can give us some money for that, and you get a bunch of other stuff.
Private worlds for you and your friends.
Yeah.
Unlimited storage for crafting components. A new placeable fast travel point. 1,650 atoms per month to use in the atomic shop, which I don't know what that is.
I don't know what the
value-
exchange
Real world
No,
money.
I was gonna say I don't know what the economy is like in Fallout 76.
A ranger outfit and some icons and emotes. So, I mean, that's probably. It's just hard for
My
me to
presumption
believe
is
that there's enough
mostly
people
it's the first thing.
still playing Fallout 76 at this point that it would be that it's worth
Well,
it for
I feel like
them
that's why
to
they're
continue
doing
to
it,
dump
right?
money into it, or even trying to like get fucking blood
They
from
haven't-
that stone at this point. But there must be enough people playing it. to
There are
make
enough
this
people
worth
playing
their
it.
while.
They're putting out updates and things are happening. So
This sounds more like a way to
regardless
just
of how much
monetize
people want to
the
take a dump out of it, dump on it.
diehards.
That's always what you do.
But just
Yeah, well,
too,
that's-
like
yeah,
nobody.
obviously.
I never heard anybody say any like. There was not anybody that said nice things about Fallout 76.
That's incorrect.
I say I feel like Kurt didn't totally hate it.
That's not nice things. That's this is what I'm saying. Is that there was no. I don't remember there being an enthusiastic.
How much bitching do you do about games you play?
I guess.
Oh, I know the answer to that one a lot.
But I also say nice things about those games. This is what I'm saying, is
Yeah.
that I just don't remember anybody saying anything like enthusiastic about that game at any point.
So a friend of mine is playing this game right now,
Okay.
and he is running into people. He's at like level 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
He is running into people that are like triple digits above him,
Okay.
or triple,
Okay.
like 3 times the level he's in. They've obviously put a lot of time into this game.
All right.
I'm not.
I mean, that
saying,
feels that. I'm
you
just
know,
gonna say, from my perspective, that feels like
I
throwing
think
good
it's-
money after bad. That's my. But I mean, people can do what they want. Obviously, I just don't understand.
I mean, you feel like that based on what? You haven't played it.
It's true. I didn't play it.
I mean, that's true. I haven't. But I'm saying if you're
I'm not claiming that the game is necessarily good, or whatever, or worth. I'm not gonna give them $100 a year to play that, but
I
you
guess
know,
it kind of there's.
I guess my thing is it doesn't
like there are people that
article-
put that or more into playing WoW or any of these other games
There's
that play for a long time.
right, but there's a lot
You
of
know,
stuff.
it's an
in
entirely
WoW.
different kind
Like,
of game.
There's a lot of stuff in that.
right.
It
Also,
doesn't
I
seem
mean,
like Fallout 76 has that much stuff, but it does kind of like reading this Polygon article from April of this year, which is quite a while ago now, but it sounds like people were having kind of a what the hell was a pirate game that Rare put out
Sea of
last
Thieves?
year? Yeah, it
Sea
seems
of
like people are
Thieves,
kind of
yeah.
having that kind of a experience with it, where they're just like walking around and hanging out with people and drinking tea
Yeah,
and
this is what I'm saying. Yeah.
just existing
So-
in the Fallout.
The-
I think there's
the
a
thing
there's a
about
little
WoW-
bit of a possible echo chamber going on where like
right.
people we know that played it, that hated it, stopped playing it, but there are people that are playing it. Obviously, they would have pulled the plug if they weren't.
right. But I think so. I will say first that WoW is at this point it's free to start, and then
Right.
you know what I mean. Like Fallout 76 was a
15
full price game,
15
right? It
bucks
was
a
Yeah.
year though.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was-
World of Warcraft
it's-
was a full price game too, and the expansions continue
Yeah.
to be paid for. Plus,
A
there's
full price
monthly
game
subscription
and a monthly
fee.
subscription
Yeah.
price. Yeah, exactly.
was WoW really full price?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was-
yeah,
absolutely.
All MMOs used
and
to be full
every
price, right?
subscription is full price
yeah.
too.
And even
Expansion,
when the
I'm
new
sorry.
expansions,
Right.
I think they're like $40 now,
something like
typically.
that. But that was somewhat of the going price for.
Sure. But so your timer's up, Eric. You can finish the level and see what happens
Okay.
now. I also think that it doesn't sound like these are Jennifer's destroyed. By
She seems not happy about this.
yeah,
She didn't stand a chance.
She
It's
seems
weird.
stoked.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like these are really private. I mean, I guess I'm not totally clear, but
that's
if
pretty
you're
much
paying
what it sounds
Bethesda,
like. So you pay Bethesda $100 a year, and then you have servers for just you and your friends to play on.
Yeah. Right.
right? But it's not like when some games go offline and then someone sets up like a private server for that, like
I mean,
Fantasy Star.
there's not enough information in this article to say what kind of control you'll have over that.
Right,
My
but it seems like when Bethesda
My
decides-
suspicion is it's like setting up like when we play a multiplayer game and we set up a private
If we
lobby
set up
and only we can join.
Right, but it's not like
my
setting up a
impression is it'll be like
Minecraft
that.
server where you can kind of
Yeah,
establish
not like
your
that.
own
No,
parameters and do whatever.
you're
you
just
want.
saying I want to play the game, but I only want my friends to be able to jump in on it. Otherwise, you have no control over what server you join.
Right.
When you log in, you just get stuck on a server with a bunch of people and you
Yeah.
play.
Although, from what I remember of Fallout 76, like sales were way down from Fallout 4. But I guess you only need
Oh yeah,
if
that's
you have
definitely
like
true.
50,000 people and like 1% of them are willing to pay the $100, and it's probably worth it from Bethesda's
Yeah.
point of view. But I just
Maybe. Yeah.
I wish that game, like, the other thing is I wish that game was really good and people were really excited about it, because I would have liked to have played it, because I like the Fallout games.
Right.
But when you
Yeah, I hear
came
you.
back, and like even you and I were more positive on Fallout 4, I feel like, than most people were.
Oh yeah.
And when you came
absolutely.
and said, that's not worth your
Yeah.
time, I was like, well,
Right.
then,
Yeah.
I'm just not going to bother.
Yeah, you're definitely out.
So that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, again, I'm not trying to say. I just feel like there's a tendency amongst folks that
There's a
at
lot of
least
weird
certain
video
crowd
games out there
to
that,
just take a dump on it
right,
regardless,
and then just move
because
on.
yeah,
There's a lot of weird video games out there that make a lot of money that none of us
Yeah.
have ever even looked at or heard of.
yeah. I mean,
So
ask Alex about Warframe at some point.
I downloaded Warframe and tried, but it's
Well, yeah, but
it's
again,
fucking
Warframe is free to play.
crazy. Yeah, well, how about that? What about Tom Clancy's? What the hell was the?
Well, Wildlands was
Siege
one.
Recon.
No, Tom
that I-
Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Division.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
There's
game
still
that-
people playing that,
There's tons of people. They just put out another expansion pack for that a month ago,
right?
like that had like game-changing characters that could do things that there were like now you
Right,
can,
and when that
they
actually
added
when
a
that
character
game
that
came
can
out,
climb up the vents, which was a thing that nobody else in the game could do.
Holy
even though that
shit.
game's been going on since 2015.
yeah, and when that game came out, it was like
It was not
punishing
good.
how much work you had to put in to unlock shit.
Yeah. And it's still like one of the most popular games on Steam. And it's been
Yeah.
out for almost 5 years, or almost 4 years now.
Yeah,
So, and I mean, we played it and it was like kind of neat, right? It
right.
was
Yeah, I
something
didn't.
that would have
I didn't hate
required
the
a-
time we spent with it.
Yeah, it would have required a lot of time to catch up to speed with the rest of the
Yeah.
community at the time, but there's just like a lot of mechanics at play with all the different characters and stuff. But
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I just feel like that I mean, I get that there's bonuses to it, but from
it
Bethesda's
doesn't seem like
side,
$100 of value.
well, no, it doesn't seem like. But more than that, it just seems kind of shitty on Bethesda's part to be like, this game has been free to play online or for whatever fee you're paying Microsoft or Sony, and now it's not.
Well, it's still free to
Well,
play.
that was my point. Is it still is
Right. It's
That's
still
what
just
I was
it's
saying
a
at the very
$40
beginning.
game or
They're not
whatever.
saying now you have to pay to play online. They're saying if you want these things,
Give us $100.
you can pay us money, and
Right.
you can do that.
Right.
Because there were people when that game came out that were like, I just want to play with my friends.
Right.
And they were like, that's not how it works.
wait, was this game made by Nintendo?
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
if
It's
that
a
was the
joint-
case, they would have said you can play with your friends, but you type out these really like obnoxiously long codes.
Is a
And you play
47
with your
character long code that you enter. Yeah.
Did you guys, I
Once
saw,
once you and your friend each submit a blood sample, you can
I
play
told-
online.
Yeah. If they turned it,
And
if
we
they
confirm
then
you're not
turned
the
it into
thing.
a subscription service, I'd be
Then-
totally down with
Hey,
it.
nice
That's some
callback.
bullshit.
so I don't know. I mentioned this. I'm not sure if we were on stream or not, but I went to a GameStop to get the Genesis Mini, and they were selling Anthem for $17 new, or $8 used.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's where that is. Just speaking of like,
I have it on my PS4 because it was free
yeah,
with PS Plus at some point. I was like, well, I'll grab it, and maybe at some point I'll spend some time with it.
I mean, to be fair, this is another one of those situations where none of us have actually touched that game.
nope.
Right, exactly.
Although Alex played it and for like a month and then immediately went back to Destiny 2. So
I mean, I've been burned by the last 2 BioWare games that I played, and some people even liked a few of those, so I'm not really in any mood to give them another chance at this point.
what's
Yeah.
Dragon Age and
Mass Effect Andromeda.
I kind of like that. I picked up that Dragon Age game this year, and I kind of liked it.
I don't know. I mean, I played a lot of it, but I found it very forgettable and dull. Like, it's fun for a while, but it just goes on forever, and it just
It
doesn't
does.
feel like there's much of a point to any of
I
it.
don't know how much I could tell you about what I did in the 20 or 25 hours I played, but I thought it was okay.
It wasn't garbage. I'm just saying, like, it didn't have any of the magic that the Mass Effect trilogy had for me.
Yeah.
Correct.
Anyway,
Like,
I'm sorry. You can finish your thought.
I don't think I have any more thoughts to have on that game.
My thought is, it's not those.
Man, I wish.
And Andromeda was surprisingly okay to play. Like, the actual running around and shooting stuff is probably better than any other Mass Effect game, but they just whiffed really hard on the world and characters, which is why I'm there. So
Yeah.
Right. That seems
Hopefully-
like a problem. Yeah.
Hopefully, Outer Worlds.
I'm interested. I mean, between that and Disco Elysium, there's a couple of real highbrow CG computer role-playing games
I don't.
coming up
Did
this
you
month.
watch the Giant Bomb? Quick look at that.
I watched a bit of it, and I listened to a really long discussion on Waypoint about what is potentially wrong with it. Like, tonally speaking, I think I might hate it, but it seems like the game contains multitudes.
I think that maybe I don't know. I think that there's a lot. There's a lot of those style RPGs out there, and there's probably. I would say if you want to play something like that, you might be better served by playing that new Planescape game that came out a couple years ago, which is on Game Pass, which I played a ton of this year. And that game is fucking ridiculously good, or at least the bits of it the stuff that I got to was really good. As far as like that game really
Tides of
nailed
Numenera.
Tides of Numenera. That game really nailed the role playing, the dialogue role playing aspect of what you want from like a D&D type game.
Nice. Positive.
Yeah, I was really having a good time with that. And then Control came out, and I have yet to go back to it, but I will at some point. I want to finish that.
Nice.
I got to, there was like a world-changing event that happens, and then that was a natural stopping point, so I held off for Control to come out, and then haven't gone back to it, but
Old chaining events, those are
it was pretty good.
exciting stuff.
It's really good. Anyways. Alright, are we done?
Sure. Put a cork in it.
Back tomorrow with something else.
Okay. Jen is so.
Like I said, it's my.
Jen
I
is
think it's
fine.
I think it's the weakest link in the series. I think that 1 and 2 are. I mean, they're all style over substance to varying degrees,
Yeah.
but 1 and 2, for games that are sort of shallow as those very flat plane 2D beat 'em ups like Kung Fu Master and Vigilante, I think they really nail that format. Wanpaku Graffiti is really breezy and pretty simple. You've got a huge life bar by the end because you get upgrades. The English text like "be garbage of cesspool" is great, and all the chibi monster movie like Wanpaku Graffiti for the Famicom just has so many like very blatant movie references that it's fun to try to pick them all out and stuff. And like I said, the game is very breezy. It's short. It's easy to finish. And then the new one, yeah, I mean, it was ambitious. I think its reach exceeded its grasp, but I still had fun with it. And this one just kind of feels like it's a beat 'em up that has decent core mechanics, but the stuff around it is a little too onerous on the player. Like dropping a weapon one time and having it taken away from you is kind of bogus. The time limit is too stringent. The enemies, like you were saying, Eric, at the end, the enemies that charge you, taking off half your health, like 2 hits kills you. Like
sucks.
that's too much.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, this is kind of the weakest of the series, but so Genesisn't seems appropriate.
All right. Good night.